I got my game shoes on. I'm gonna get up and go do my job. I won't stop until I reach the top, 'cause winning's all I do, yeah. And if you push me down, I'm gonna get up and then shake your ground. It's too late to stop me now, 'cause winning's all I do, yeah. I feel it in my veins and I'm ready to go. Adrenaline is pumping from my head to my toes. I'm stepping up strong like a king on his throne. Lights turn on and I'm ready to go. It's showtime. If you wanna go get it, gotta give it all you got and more. Yeah, it's showtime. Ready or not, you better fight harder than before. It's showtime. Now keep your eyes on the prize. No matter what, I'll put up a good fight. Do what I gotta do to survive, 'cause winning's all I do, yeah. Be confident, 'cause this moment may never come again. You better give 110%, 'cause winning's all I do. Ooh, oh, I feel it in my veins and I'm ready to go. Adrenaline is pumping from my head to my toes. I'm stepping up strong like a king on his throne. Lights turn on and I'm ready to go. It's showtime. If you wanna go get it, gotta give it all you got and more. Come on, it's showtime. Ready or not, you better fight harder than before. Yeah, it's showtime. If you wanna go get it, gotta give it all you got and more. Oh, it's showtime. Ready or not, you better fight harder than before. Come on. Hey. Everybody, come on. It's showtime. Yeah. Yeah. I feel it in my veins and I'm ready to go. Adrenaline is pumping from my head to my toes. I'm stepping up strong like a king on his throne. Lights turn on and I'm ready to go. It's showtime. If you wanna go get it, gotta give it all you got and more. Come on, it's showtime. Ready or not, you better fight harder than before. Yeah, it's showtime. If you wanna go get it, gotta give it all you got and more. Oh, it's showtime. Ready or not, you better fight harder than before.
I could lose you like some loose change. Usually I like to kick it through the Luke Kane. Every night living life out of suitcase. Too many voices in my head to hear what you saying. That's why I'm swimming in this liquor like a pool day. That's why I'm flying out to Vegas on a Tuesday. Yeah, I might catch a couple L's, but I'm cool, J. You never know, just like the shoes say. A new wave, I am on, wonder where my mind is gone. Every time I write a song, I feel like I right or wrong. I keep running right in place, might as well enjoy the chase. Wish I knew back then what I know right now. So fresh, but I guess how I wanna. Maybe.
Good evening, race fans. Welcome to Chicagoland for the Chicagoland 180 from the ERSCA Belly Up Sports Cup Series. My name is David Westergreen. With me, as not always, half the year, are Robert Hill and Chris Wright. And we're gonna go in and look at this 7th ERSCA race this season. Another 1.5-mile track where the Gen 4 Cup car really excels. And Chris, give us a little bit of a rundown tonight. How's this car going to handle for these drivers, and what are you expecting to see?
I expect to see a great race. I think they'll be able to run anywhere from the wall to the bottom, depending on how worn the tires are, how much you want to push it. I look for the top side in 1 and 2 to be very, very good later in the run. These guys are going to be sliding around, lack of grip, old, worn-out surfers here in Chicago. I think everybody's going to see a really, really good race tonight, and hopefully we can find us some green flag pit stops tonight too.
Yeah, I think that'll be a fun story to follow, as we've had a very similar race pretty much throughout the entire ERSCA season so far, where every race has kind of started off with long green flag runs, and then by the end we've had a bit of a crash fest coming down to the wire. So with that, who are our maybe contenders today as we'll go through the starting lineup? We'll start with Cameron Rich on the pole, back after missing last week. He won at Charlotte and at Watkins Glen, so this is a guy I think to look out for tonight as one of your biggest contenders. And then Scott Crump on the outside of the front row. He'll be good as well. He was good last week at Michigan.
Yeah, both those guys are contenders. You got Austin Beers, Joe Francis, 3rd and 4th. Tate Lytle, qualified 5th. I think that's a guy that hasn't been here this season, and his day's going by machine is going to be finding its way to the front tonight. I think Tate would be a good solid bet for a top 5 and to win the thing. Dylan Thomas, Gavin Hibbs, Matthew Bayuk, Andy Trupiano, Nick Massey are in the top 10. Nick always finds his way to the top 10, top 5. He will be a guy that if he gets caught up in something that's probably not going to be one of his own doing. You got James Heater, 11th. Lutz is a guy that hasn't had really race-winning pace too much this year. He ran really well at Michigan last time out, though.
Yeah.
But struggled at the road course there a little bit. Ryan Blanchard, Nick Indelicato, Vincent Isabella, Ryan Gavel, all the way back in 16th. Barbieri, Goodman, Henshaw, Johnny Thomas, Parker Landot here in 21st, and Brandon Bach in 22nd. And not qualified are Seth Rawls, Josh Adams, and Drew Eisman.
Rawls and Eisenman did not grid, so it'll just be Adams and Bach from the back group there. And worth noting, first start of the season for Josh Adams, who is a ERSCA regular. Vincent Isabella, first start of the season for him as well, another ERSCA regular from seasons past. Ryan Blanchard's a new name, making, I believe, his ERSCA debut. We'll look to see whether Brian has a good start. Good qualifying run there in 11th. Worth noting, Nick Indelicato, last week's winner, starting 14th. Bit of a poor qualifying run from the ERSCA champion from this last Thursday. Got our point standings as well.
A lot of tire fall off tonight, so don't look for these guys that qualified poorly, like a Nick Indelicato or Josh Adams who starts back there. Those guys have good pace, and they will find their way to the front over these long runs. And I think the fuel window here, I have talked to some drivers here, about 45 laps or so, 45 laps.
Pace car is off. We'll get it started here. Cameron Rich leads him down and gets the green flag. He and Austin Beers go in a mirror start, and it pulls Beers side by side with Scott Crump in a pretty big gap back to Joe Francis and Tate Lytle in 4th and 5th.
Lots of the field getting singled out already through one corner. It tells you how much tire savement's going to come into play.
3 wide at Indelicato. Vincent Isabella. Gavel went around Indelicato. Isabella clears him. One car falling back early. It looked to me like everybody was kind of hunting the bottom. Will the outside be a viable lane in this car once you get going and get the tires heated up?
I think so, but the rule of thumb on iRacing is the higher you run, the more speed you carry. The more speed you're carrying in the corner, the more you're wearing out those tires. So I think at the start here, a lot of guys are going to try to stay to the bottom.
Austin Beers makes contact with Scott Crump. That's your points leader in that 19 car. He saves it, falls back into 3rd. Scott Crump, it moves up into 2nd, and this all behind Cameron Rich, who dominated at Charlotte the last mile and a half we ran at, but I don't think Scott Crump was quite this close to Cameron Rich. He drives it to the apron, going for the lead on the front straightaway.
Going for the lead, and it looks like Cameron's just going to lift and let him go. Like I talked about, do you want to run the bottom to save the tires? And I think that Cameron knows that, understands that, and he's trying to hunt that bottom line.
Worth noting that Scott Crump was the early leader at Michigan last week as well. Very, very strong in the early part of the run, and very strong in the early part of the race last week. Then, missed up with the timing of the caution, and it got him back in the field, and that got him involved with other drivers, and which ended up ending Scott's race. But he definitely had really solid race-winning pace last week. It just didn't work out for him, and he's certainly looking to change things this week as he's got the lead over Cameron Rich.
Battle is back here for about 8th place or so.
That car on the outside, that silver car, the first silver car in line, that is the only driver to have 6 top 10 finishes in 6 races in this ERSCA season, Matthew Bayuk. Ryan Lutz clears by, though. That bottom lane working better right now, and it doesn't look like that outside's getting that big run down the straightaways where it would be worth it to run the top. Instead, it just kind of looks like Bayuk and Massey are falling back right here.
And that big red machine, that surely sticks out amongst all the rest of the cars, I'll tell you that.
Love it. Juan Pablo Montoya paint scheme there from Vincent Isabella. Good to see Vincent back on iRacing, back running this car. This is a typical Vincent run, though. He is not the type of guy to save tires early in the run. He's going to go for it. He's going to be pushing that thing as hard as it'll go, try to get as much track position as he can in advance of that first caution and maybe that first set of pit stops. And if we do go green, I would expect Vince to be maybe the first guy on pit road trying to take advantage of that undercut.
And I feel like if you're going to drive a Juan Pablo car, you got to run the Juan Pablo line, right up at the fence.
Yeah, well, we have mentioned the reasons you won't do that, but here's a battle for...
Yeah, but if you're not going to save the tires, might as well get up there and let it eat, right?
It didn't look like it was working out for some of these guys. Maybe that outside line's not very viable in this car. Tate Lytle holds off Gavin Hibbs for that 5th spot, just in front of Dylan Thomas, who was strong last week as well. Now they're going after Francis.
Lutz picking up another spot here. He's moving forward here at the start of this race.
Going around Andy Trupiano did Ryan Lutz. And yeah, I think Lutz is one of those guys. He's got to try to get up to the front, try to clear through some of this traffic. Ryan Blanchard's just been following him through, making that ERSCA debut, trying to keep it on the bottom. 3 wide back here in the back. Josh Adams going around Goodman and Landolt. This is a car that fits Adams' style. I think he'll be a strong one if he can actually get up through the traffic here and get up to the front of the field in the old Clint Boyer car.
We'll see. I don't think Josh has a lot of experience in this Gen 4 machine. Taking a look here at the Blue Ribbon machine by Michael Goodman now.
Yep, the Volkswagen looking strong. This big battle for 4th on back. About a second and a half behind race leader Scott Crump. Cameron Rich is starting to eat into that lead by Crump, though, and this is very reminiscent of what he did at Charlotte. About 10 or 15 laps into the run, he would just start to creep forward, and then by 25, 30 laps into the run, Cameron Rich was 5 seconds ahead.
Cameron's a really, really good driver and definitely knows how to make speed and save the tire.
Look at that. We've got the wheel on. You can kind of see Cameron's input. You see how little wheel he was using in the center of the corner? That's mighty impressive. That's how you save them.
That's great throttle control is what that is.
Yep, good throttle control, good tire saving. Michael Goodman a little bit sideways down the front straightaway. He might have clipped the wall a little bit, did Goody?
Those Volkswagens are a little behind. There's not many of them. New to the NASCAR program is the Volkswagens.
Yeah, they got to get the setup tuned properly.
That's the silver cars just changed places.
They did. Right in front of Brendan Bach, Ryan Barbieri, and James Heater. Right there for 14th, 15th, and 16th is the battle. Heater and Barbieri kind of running the top lane there. Heater's the first one I think I've seen that actually ran it properly, got a run down the straightaway here, and he does clear Brendan Bach with it. I'm interested to see if anybody starts to change lanes as this run gets going.
One thing I'm noticing is these guys are really taking a wide entry into 3, trying to miss as many of those bumps on the bottom as you can. There's probably not many places more bumpy than the bottom of turn 3 and 4 at Chicago.
Yep. That's why, I at least in my experience, I think I've run this track the most in the Xfinity car. And in that car, you can run the top as the tire saving line, basically. I mean, you can just run it up there as much as you want, and it doesn't really matter because you're avoiding those bumps. You're able to kind of slow it down and drive it down off the corner. Trupiano's falling back.
It's so hard because you want to hit those bumps when you're going over them. You want to know you don't want to go over them by accident, just clip it on the lefts or whatnot. You want to know that you're going to go over them because you have to drive the car different to drive over those bumps than you do if it wasn't bumpy. You kind of got to prepare yourself to hit them. Because it will turn the car right around.
Yep, just behind this group, Ryan Blanchard just went by Vincent Isabella. Now Nick Massey and Matthew Bayuk have just cleared by the big red machine,
There's
which
the
is now
wall
by the
line
wall.
right yeah,
Yep.
He found it.
See if it does anything for him here down the front straightaway. Looks like he's a little bit faster than Bayuk, but I don't know if he'll be able to hold on there for a long time. That's a really risky line, really letting it eat way out on the outside. But these guys are moving up the track. I'm seeing a lot less white line, Kevin Harvick style, a little more off the bottom, middle lane, sometimes top lane, as needed.
I remember the first time Juan Pablo started doing that in qualifying, and he was throwing dust everywhere and making it go really fast. People couldn't believe it. Nowadays, you see people run the top to get a run at the green and run the top in qualifying nearly every week if the track will allow it.
Don't even have as much horsepower as they used to. Juan Pablo was running it when it was a 800, 900 horsepower car, just like we're running here tonight. Battle is going to be for the lead here. Cameron Rich is reeling in Scott Crump. And as we saw at Charlotte, that Vans number 17 is just hunting the lead once it gets to 15, 20 laps in the run.
Looking good. Cameron closing in here. You think Scott's hearing the Jaws music yet?
Donna. I don't know if he's all the way there for the crescendo, but definitely on there. Oh, here he comes. Another really good run.
Right there. Stay tuned and the pass will happen.
Stay tuned, I believe, the podcast sponsoring the Scott Crump Machine. Go listen to him. Check him out. Good supporters.
Right now he's just getting hounded, and you saw him miss the bottom in 3 and 4 just barely, and that's all Cameron wants to do. Just make him miss his marks just a little bit. See, he didn't get all the way to the bottom again right here.
I think back to the Watkins Glen race when Cameron and Gavin Hibbs were running together, and Cameron was right about here, just kind of on Gavin's bumper, waiting for the mistake, and coming out of the bus stop, Gavin Hibbs got the wall, and that was all it took. Cameron took the lead and drove away to the win.
Does Cameron dare try the outside, or is he just sit there and hound him? Cameron's really patient. He's patient enough to where I could see him sitting there. Now, if this was me, I'd want to pass him right now. I'd move to the top. I'm not nearly as patient as Cameron is.
Yeah, Cameron's really, really smart at this. He's going to try to do it his way. And look here, he's going to jump to the inside. He wants to make that pass on the bottom. Now, the question is, has that outside lane come in enough to where you can defend up there? I think that's what we'll see from Scott Crump here, is an attempted defense. And it looks like it's a little bit faster on, if you can keep that car from rolling out to the wall on throttle. But Cameron's going to change Scott's entry point right here.
Scott put a lot of trust that Cameron was going to run the bottom there.
These are two guys who can run side by side, right? These are a couple of guys who typically run pretty clean, and Scott won't put up with anything, obviously, but he's a guy that if you race him clean, he'll race you clean right back. But he's a hard racer. He's not going to just roll over for you. And Cameron Rich is seeing that right now, and I think it's bringing Austin Beers closer to this battle. He's picked up a couple of tenths the last couple of laps.
Yep, great defense there by Scott Crump. So great that he's going to go ahead and run that second lane now just by himself.
Yeah, what that'll do, though, is as he gets comfortable with that will burn his tires up a little bit more, I think, and that's kind of the advantage Cameron will end up getting. And you wonder if Cameron maybe could have scooted up to the top, taken away that kind of defensive line from Scott, and then only run it 1 or 2 corners. But I wonder if Cameron's just not willing to do that at this point in the race.
Yeah, I venture to say, like we talked about there a couple laps ago, Cameron's really, really patient. He's just going to keep running the bottom and wait for Scott to make a mistake.
Big battle, big gaggle of cars back here from Vincent Isabella 13th on back. Nick and Delicato, Ryan Gavel both fell back to start this race. They are now moving forward with fresher tires, I'm sure, and saved tires. You see Ryan Blanchard. I think he got the wall. Blanchard's ERSCA debut, little bit slick. He's finding out the horsepower of these Gen 4 cars, and Brendan Bach cuts to the apron. He went up to 10th, and now he's back in 20th. It's that fast.
Very tough to do is make some passes, and you're seeing it here as Cameron once again going for the lead. Not going to get him right here.
Cameron with that inside line. That's definitely his preferred line. Scott Crump utilizing that
Nearly contact going through the tri-oval.
defensive outside, and yeah, it was. And
Cameron
when you
loose
are
on the bottom.
when you are battling side by side, you got to put more wheel into it. Cameron, we saw earlier on the onboard, he was not putting much wheel into that car. That's why his tires are fresher right now. But he's got to put more wheel in it now to try to keep it down, keep it off of Crump. He can't wash up at all. And then on corner exit, he has to hold that car down, and it will burn off the tires more and more. And then Austin Beers has closed this gap considerably. He's about to enter our shot here on the helicopter view. You see him right there, 19 kart points leader. He's definitely going to be eager to try to take these guys 3 wide, maybe grab the lead, grab a lap lead bonus point there.
I think that the very top of 1 and 2 will work. If Austin's close enough down into 1 next time, I think you might see Austin go to the very top of 3 wide and try to make it work, because I think down there in 1 and 2 is where the grip is going to be on the top.
Yep. It's a very realistic possibility as Crump does clear Cameron Rich. Very strong defensive battle by Scott Crump. And now Austin Beers jumps to the outside. 3 distinct different lines through turn 1. Austin Beers trying to get that big momentum swing down the back straightaway. Maybe try to take these guys 3 wide.
And Cameron is now trying a little bit more. He's putting a little bit more effort into this, trying to take this lead.
Yep. That we mentioned Cameron Rich's patience. The patience might have hurt him here because now he has to deal with 2 guys instead of just Scott Crump. I think anybody watching is going to know, well, if Cameron Rich takes this lead, he'll probably drive away. But even this battle is bringing Tate Lytle into the picture. Yep, here comes Austin Beers. Beers thought better of it. Beers just tucked right back in behind Rich. Now Cameron's up top.
I think Cameron realized he did not want to get caught on the bottom. I think I like that move for Cameron.
Yep. Beers originally had tucked back in behind him. It was like a battle going to see who could take away that top groove from the other driver. Now Beers up top. Tate Lytle will go down to the bottom. This has suddenly become a 4-car battle for the lead.
Yeah, and I know if I know anything about Tate Lytle, I know he's saved his tires pretty hard here at the start of this race.
Yep.
And we're only about 15, 16 laps away from a pit stop here if it stays green.
Right. 4 leaders under a blanket. Gavin Hibbs sitting about a 1.5 seconds back, and then another 4 cars under a blanket there. Cameron Rich now way to the top. Way to the top. Let's see what kind of momentum this carries for Cameron Rich down the back straightaway. He's got a big run on Scott Crump here.
You'd like to get to the top, though. He's tried this bottom side a few times, and it hasn't worked.
He didn't have this run, though. That is a big run. He doesn't really carry it all the way in, though. I wonder if the tires are just a little bit too old for that, and now they're just stuck side by side once again. I think this will allow that draft to kind of come in and hold them up for Tate and Austin Beers.
But every driver in this 4-car pack now has learned you can run up at the top, and if you do it right, you get a huge run off of turn 2.
They didn't do it there, and Cameron Rich still side by side with Crump, trying to make that bottom lane work. Very Kevin Harvick-esque from Cameron Rich.
We got a Pontiac, a Dodge, and 2 Chevrolets up here.
The old manufacturer battle. Oh, Crump got into Rich just a little bit.
Was that Crump or was that Rich? Or was it maybe a little bit of both of them?
It murdered Cameron Rich's corner entry there, and he's going to have to fall back. And now he's loose coming off. He's going to lose all 3 spots. I want to say Crump just didn't quite expect. I don't know. I think this is turn 3 here. I think we got to go forward a little bit, Robert. Beers is going for the lead in real life here, but
here we go. Gets down there.
I think Scott. Cameron was expecting Scott to go back up to the wall like he had been. And by the way, the battle for the lead is intense right now. Beers got to Crump's outside. Tate's now coming to the bottom. These guys are fighting furiously.
Crump's got to really drive. Here, there it is. He overdrives the corner. He's like, if you're going to do it, you're going to do it on the bottom. And now Tate's on the bottom. It's going to force Beers to lift. Yep. And all of a sudden, here comes Tate Lytle.
This is has been a marvelous.
Don't forget Cameron Rich. He's back in this battle now, too.
Tate just came all the way up to the... He did what Cameron was expecting to do right there because Crump had been running to the wall. Oh, Crump's loose. He got contact.
And Rich is going to follow Tate through to second.
Tate to the lead. Rich to second. Crump falls to third. Scott had been kind of hanging on. And now I think he's going to kind of let these guys go, try to regroup a little bit. They have lost a full second almost to the guys behind them here with all of that contact. Tate Lytle's gone from fourth to first.
There's Tate.
Tate ran the top there. Trying to be defensive, but Cameron Rich back to second after the contact with Scott Crump, and after losing those spots, he finds himself now behind another guy. Very good on these long runs, very fast. Going to be a difficult job, I think, to get by Tate Lytle, who probably does have the best tires of this front four. Ryan Lutz now trying to carve his way into the top 5. He has moved from the 12th starting position all the way up to 6th, and if he can get Gavin Hibbs right here, that will be for P5. Lutz dives it in, tries to slide job. Yep. Doesn't work. Gavin Hibbs on the top.
He's going to lose a spot, actually, here down the back.
That outside lane now, see that the lane has moved up. Everybody ran the bottom at the beginning of this run. Lane has moved up. Preferred grooves up top. And that 3 cars sideways, 9 cars sideways. Lutz running the middle lane.
We got a battle for the lead.
There it is.
Cameron
Again on the bottom.
Keep
an eye on this battle for 5th. It's nothing's changed. Status quo up there. They're about to be 3 wide for the leader here.
Tate running that very top side. We're 3 wide. Tate's got the big run, though. He's going to get clear going into 3.
Beers really trying to make that outside work and get to the outside of Cameron Rich. He's going to do it here in turn 3. Beers
great battles all over the racetrack right now.
Oh, Beers got into Rich. Just a little bit of contact, but Cameron can't be too happy about that. It's the second time he's been door slammed already. Beers will go by. Tate Lytle opening out the lead a little bit now, 0.3 of a second. That's about the biggest anyone's had in this first run.
We're going to see pit stops start this lap, I believe.
And for Scott Crump, this is not at all a failed run, as Nick Massey, Matthew Bayuk are the first ones to come down pit road. Massey looks real fast. They will, I think, make it on a pit road without causing any incidents there or any speeding penalties. Anyway, for this run is a good run for Scott Crump, right? Stays up in the front group. He can kind of control his destiny here, determining when to pit. He's got good track position. A much better result than what happened in Michigan last week thus far, when he was kind of forced into a short pit and then the caution came out at the perfect time. Still battling for 5th. Lutz has gotten it. Francis trying to go by Hibbs up there. And Delicato, Gavel, Barbieri coming down pit road.
Yeah, we've had a rash of pit stops here with more to come.
I think these guys are dividing it up where they can get, 3 pit stops in, or I guess 2 pit stops, but 3 runs of 40 laps, right? So, you'll have to go a little bit longer for one of those runs, right? 42, 43 laps. But if you were that far back, you do need to go ahead and grab that track position. As Andy Trupiano comes down pit road, that looked a little fast. See if Trupiano ends up a couple of laps down with a speeding penalty. Austin Beers is all over the back bumper of Tate Lytle.
So far, all clean on the pit stops. No black flags. Side by side for the lead.
Beers
Cameron
and
Rich,
Lytle.
I think, is coming right here. Here comes Cameron Rich.
Scott Crump almost caught the right rear of Cameron Rich as he was coming down pit road there at the line. Tate Lytle leads. Austin Beers definitely trying to hunt that lead bonus point, though. He is the points leader over Matthew Bayuk and Nick Delicato. So that's kind of the battle we got to keep our eye on here. But there's only 8 points separating them. Every point's going to matter. The halfway points are going to matter.
I see Beers' crew up on the wall.
I think he's coming.
He might come.
Tate's going to run that top lane. Tate's going to stay out as long as possible here. Scott Crump continues to stay out. I think Brendan Bach missed pit road. That or let some people by. Lytle remains on the track. Rich has pitted. And he's coming back out now. Nick Massey blew around Cameron Rich. Matthew Bayuk's around Cameron Rich. That's how far those fresh tires are going to put you. Nick Massey's up there now near the race lead as Michael Goodman comes to pit road. And Delicato side by side with Rich. I think he was like 10 or 15 seconds off of the race lead before then as Blanchard will come to pit road. So will Scott Crump.
Beers is blending off. We'll see how he blends compared to Cameron Rich.
Vincent Isabella down pit road. Gavin Hibbs down pit road. Tate's still on the racetrack. Joe Francis, he's the one who always runs long. So I expect that much. Here comes Beers off the pit road. He's going to, I think, be ahead. I think Beers maybe had a bit of a better run on pit road than Cameron Rich did. Adams comes down pit road. Tate Lytle comes down pit road. Joe, Ryan Lutz. Beers, they will go by Matthew Bayuk here. But Nick Massey, I think, might inherit the lead out of all this. Peters down pit road as well. Dylan Thomas on pit road. Crump's on the back straightaway right now. I think he's behind this whole group.
Yeah, Crump did not have a good in and out.
It'll be Massey at the line. Those guys on pit road, they were still in front of Nick.
There's Tate. Tate's going to lose a lot of track position right now. We'll see if he can gain it back over the course of the run.
He'll pass a lot of these guys, but this is a long way for Tate to be falling back behind Rich and Beers, man. Those guys got optimal pits, I think, and Tate and Crump were just a little bit off. I mean, he's way back here by Barbieri in 9th. And he's going to make that time up, but that's like 6 seconds. That's going to be a solid chunk of this run. Is going to be Tate Lytle trying to make this time up. So Massey's the race leader. Trupiano is now 2nd. Beers is 3rd. He's going to have the freshest tires among that top group. Cameron Rich 4th. He's got about a lot older tires than Beers. And Delicato 5th. Bayuk 6th. Gavel 7th. Crump 8th. Then Tate back in 9th. And then Barbieri in 10th. Outside the top 10 now, Hibbs, Lutz, Francis, Thomas, all those guys that were running up in the top 10, they've fallen way back because they went long, and you know they'll get the run and they'll come back by those guys who short pitted them, but it's going to take a little bit. If the caution comes out, that can really reset things.
Yeah, a timed caution, like right now, if you're sitting here and you're one of the guys that short pitted while you got your track position in front of everybody, a caution right now would not be the worst thing.
Right.
You know, if I'm driving Nick Massey's car and a caution comes out right here before they catch me and we can all pit and get equal, and then all of a sudden I've went from 7th before pit stops to leading the race, that would be perfect.
That's the ideal circumstance for the guys who have short pitted, right? I mean, they're hoping for maybe a caution. They're hoping maybe they can, you know, stay up in front of these guys until that halfway point at lap 60. Scott Crump goes into 7th place around Bayuk. He's going to probably get 6th from Gavel here with fresher tires. I think you'll see Tate Lytle make that move pretty quickly. Austin Beers and Cameron Rich, they're closing in on the race leaders right now.
I think if I could choose to be in any one of these cars right now, I like Tate Lytle's position.
Right. It's just a matter of how long it's going to take Lytle to get through these guys and whether that becomes treacherous falling to 9th and having to pass 8 cars.
As long as he doesn't catch an ill-timed yellow here, I like where Tate's at.
Yep. You want to be the one that's, you know, people are trying to get an advantage on, rather than, you know, the one that you're trying to make the move, because you tend to end up losing out if you're the one being really hyper aggressive, barring any of those random cautions that you can't really control. Oh, there it is. Caution's out. Yeah, we just as I said it. Brennan Bach slow on the front straightaway, probably was him. 33 cars had a bit of a miserable season. Ain't an easy car to drive. You trying to go pit road here?
No, if I'm a guy like Nick Massey, all of a sudden
hit the bumps.
Looking pretty good.
He did. Yep, that's a huge break for Nick Massey. Now, yeah, I don't foresee. They have 5 sets of tires in the pits. I don't foresee anyone staying out here. But
Well, they have 5 overall.
call?
They only have 4 on the pits. They've got 3 left on pit road right now.
Right, but you only need to pit 2 more times, so you do have that extra set. And now with the race at 70 laps to go, you can break that sucker up into 35 and 35. You only need to pit 1 more time. You come down and get 4 here. Is anyone willing to come down and get 2? Is the question. And how much do those left sides wear? I mean, Tate Lytle's only run like 10 laps or something. I mean, he could very easily take 2 tires and get some of that track position back.
Man, I don't know about putting 2 tires on the thing.
Hey, that's exactly what I'm wondering. As here comes, I think everybody's coming down pit road here. I don't think it would be wise to go back out there with none.
Well,
Gavin Hibbs, Johnny Thomas,
Josh Adams.
Well. Those are some of the guys who pitted the last among the group here. But you have so many tires in the pits, I just don't see a benefit. Maybe they'll come down next time by.
I just think, where they're running, what do they got to lose?
Mm-hmm.
I like that. I'm a big believer in, if you're not going to win the race straight up, and at this point in the race, you know what kind of speed you've got.
Sure.
Do something that they don't. Don't follow the leaders. If you follow the leaders, you're just going to follow them all the way to the checker flag, and you're content to finish 10th or 15th.
Yep.
So I'm a big believer in trying something. Do I think it's going to work? Staying out? No. Do I think 2 tires is going to work? I doubt it. I think the car is going to be super. The cars are already on the edge of control with grip, and even though lefts aren't wearing too terrible, 2 tires is going to be free. You're going to be pretty free on 2 tires. So I like 4. I think 4 is going to be the call that's the right call here. But I love to see guys try different things to get yourself at the front.
The guy who's going to be out the first with 4 tires is Scott Crump, I believe. After all this, Joe Francis gets 2 tires. Crump, I believe, the first one to get 4. Crump might have gotten 2. He was in the position to be able to do that.
That's 2 tires on the Crump machine.
Yep, so 2 from Francis, 2 for Crump. First one on 4 is Andy Trupiano there, who did get out in front of Nick Massey. I think Massey actually kind of lost a few spots there on pit road. That was not the best set of stops there for Massey. He lost out to Austin Beers as well. And I wonder if this is now the point of the race at which we see a few cautions. They were running really, really hard there for the race lead for about 20 or 30 laps. Drew Eisenman has come off pit road. Unfortunately, I think he's going to be a few laps down, though. 49, to be exact. Never got going. Did the 77 car. Looks like they finally fixed whatever was wrong in the motor.
This will be interesting.
This might be a play for points for Gavin and Johnny and some of these guys. Remember they only need to get to lap 60 to get those bonus points for the halfway point. And it's not a play for points for Josh Adams, who's just making his season debut. It's an off-strategy call for him, but Crump, Francis as well, those guys, I mean, they certainly are going for the point standings. And if you're Gavin Hibbs, you only need to be up front for, going to be like 6 laps here, 7 laps.
I don't think I think he will be lucky to be in the top 10 if there's no cautions between now and the midway point.
Yeah, I think 4 tires is going to be the one you want to be on, I think, here. Unless, of course, we get an immediate caution.
Terrible. I wouldn't want to try it. I wouldn't want to be the driver that has 2 tires right now. But with the group of cars taking no tires, you're going to be better than them. And as long as if you're Scott Crump and you're Joe Francis, if you can get around these guys on no tires pretty quick, it'll help you get out here a little further because it'll take those guys with 4 tires a while. Passing cars isn't the easiest thing, even when you're on newer tires. You got to navigate around them. Sometimes they miss their line. They're on older tires. They're not going to be driving as good. They're not going to handle as good. So it still takes a minute to navigate around people on no tires.
You'll note that we got 3 different strategies in the top 10 now. We've got guys on no tires, guys on 2 tires, guys on 4 tires. That is the beauty of motorsports. It's going to be really fun to kind of navigate. And I know that those guys up front, their tires are not that old, right? But the gap of the tire advantage is so great with this car, and especially this tile model. Yeah, and the surface.
And the surface, it's like Darlington. If you go out and you hit 3rd gear, you're ready for new ones.
Yep. Here we go. Let's see what kind of tire usage Gavin Hibbs has. Pace car is off. Restart zone. Green flag for the 9 car. He gets a really big jump.
Cameron Rich on his tires pretty hard here. He's dropping back. He might have missed the shift.
Cameron Rich, a disastrous restart. He's now side by side with Lytle way back. Both of them had to check up. Joe Francis is the one on the move.
His tires is backing up big time here too.
Joe's the one on the move. He's up to the outside of Adams for 3rd. Adams going after Johnny Thomas for 2nd. Johnny just playing the defensive game, and up top, on the bottom, it's Austin Beers going 3 wide. Trupiano into Johnny. Everybody saves it. Crump coming through the middle. Francis backs up. Hibbs way out in front of this group. Hibbs is hoping for a caution. He can grab those halfway points before Austin Beers can come and get him. Beers on 4, Trupiano on 4, Crump on 2. They're 3rd, 4th, and 5th.
Joe Francis nearly up into the wall there.
And 2, not the move for Joe Francis. He calls back outside the top 10. Johnny Thomas is falling outside the top 10.
It almost looks like no tires may be better than 2 tires.
Yep. Crump's up there, though. He's in 5th. That car looks okay. But I don't know. Yeah. Josh holding back Austin Beers right now, and Beers knows he's got to go 5 more laps to get that halfway bonus of plus 10. Adams holding strong on the outside in the Clint Boyer machine. And if Beers even has to fight a little bit, right, that can kind of open up the door for Hibbs to just drive away. He's not going to be able to fight this time, though. Beers, I think, is going to clear.
Beers does get clear. Off to looking for the lead.
And this may be a net positive for Gavin Hibbs, though. I mean, up in front, you leading some laps, got that bonus point for leading laps. He wouldn't have gotten that one already. And then, very much in position to grab very strong, halfway points here in 3 laps. Hibbs is up there in the title fight. He's 10th in points, so right near that chase cut line. He could really use a good points day. I think Austin Beers is going to be hungry.
Trupiano here. Trupiano. Looking for 3rd on Adams.
Trupiano's had a pretty miserable season of luck so far. Now Beers cuts to the inside with, I think, 3 laps to go in the stage. I think he's going to clear Gavin Hibbs right here. Gavin's not going to be able to put up much of a fight on those 4 fresh tires. Austin Beers to the lead, and he will likely get 10 bonus points at the halfway mark in this race. A big swing in the point standings as Matthew Bayuk is sitting back in 8th. And Nick Indelicato is Nick Indelicato's in 6th. So it's a pretty big gap there where Beers can kind of extend that lead.
And there goes Nick Massey around Indelicato.
Bayou coming after Indelicato as well. Trupiano's going after Gavin Hibbs for that 2nd spot. We'll have 1 lap to go in the first half of this race, kind of the first stage. It's like 4 tires was the call, but you wanted to be that first car on 4 tires. Tate Lytle, Cameron Rich, they're outside the top 10 right now. Trupiano to 2nd, Crump going for 3rd. Final lap in the stage, and this is a net gain for Gavin Hibbs, though. If he finishes 4th in the stage right here, I mean, that's still a really strong move. Nick Massey drove it in real deep to grab 5th from Josh Adams. At the line, it will be Austin Beers to pick up the 10 halfway points. Trupiano, Crump, Hibbs, Massey, Adams, Indelicato, Bayuk, Gavel, and Tate Lytle pick up points. Lutz is held out. Rich is held out. Francis is held out. And now I think those 4 older tires are going to start really being a hindrance for Gavin Hibbs.
Yeah, I think so too. I think a lot of these guys who stayed out are going to start feeling the effects of staying out.
Hibbs' play definitely was to, finish with more points than he would have otherwise gotten from about 12th or 13th at the halfway marker, and hope for a caution that'll kind of re-rack things and let him get back on the same strategy as everybody else, lead a few laps, stay out in front of some of the traffic and the potential for a big wreck on the restart. I think it was a good call. I just don't know that it's not going to win him the race or anything at this point, but it's a good call.
And our first, second, third place cars now all took 4 tires on the pit stop.
Yep. Nick Massey up to third, and that is the guy on the move. Massey has been carving through the field, driving the wheels off of this 48 car.
You notice what lane he's been running down there in 1 and 2? He's been running the fence.
Yep. He's been running top just about the whole time here, and paying him some dividends on this short run speed. Rubiano all over the back of Beers as well. Haven't seen, race leading pace from this 7 car.
And there goes Nick, back up to the very top.
See if Massey can use the Kyle Larson, the Juan Pablo Montoya line to drive up and around these guys. Now Trupiano takes away Nick's lane. That opens up the door for Crump behind, but Crump will not be able to fill that gap, and Massey was able to cut it to the bottom. Get to the inside of Andy Trupiano. Tate Lytle's now 6th. Cameron Rich is now back in 14th. Just has not been able to make his way forward.
And now Nick is on the bottom trying to take second place.
Right back to it. The typical line we kind of expect Massey to run. Crump's been able to charge back up to these guys on the 4 tires. It looked like they were going to pull away from the 2 tires on the 8 car. Trupiano just has to slow up for the corner a little bit more than Massey, and Massey gets an advantage entering, but Trupiano's be able to make that up using that outside lane on corner exit. Constant side-by-side battle. I'm pretty sure second has been side-by-side in this race for more laps than single file. Just the position of second. Whoever's there has been side-by-side the whole race.
And Crump is now right on the bumper of that 7 machine.
And Crump make a move on these 2 and try to get around. This battle has opened up Austin Beers' lead quite a bit. He is now, almost half a second ahead. Getting some daylight between himself and Trupiano as Massey now trying back to that top side. Now side by side with Crump for third. This right in front of Indelicato and Lytle, who are quickly closing in on these guys who are racing hard in front of them. Then it'll be Bayuk, Lutz, Gavel, Thomas of the Dillon variety. Battle for 5th. Tate's going after Indelicato. He's going to get it.
Tate is really sporty out here.
It's that Kevin Harvick car at Chicago. I feel like that's the days gone by, throwback scheme where it's got the Kevin Harvick, paint.
And, I did have a conversation with Tate pre-race, and he was not at all thinking he was going to have any kind of pace tonight. He said he was last on the speed charts in practice. He was talking about being a first race back here with some new equipment. He basically said he was not going to be a factor in the race tonight, and that is just completely false. He's the best car here, in my opinion.
I'm trying to look at Cameron Rich's car. I want to say there's some damage on that thing on the right front. There's a good chunk of damage on the right front of Cameron Rich's car. Thing is very bent in.
Wonder if it was caused by that restart there. We saw him spin the tires, maybe miss a shift. Lost a lot of track position. Might have led to that damage.
Ryan Barbieri and he had bounced off each other at one point in turn 1 there, and I want to say that was the contributor for it. There's another look, another lap. We got Vincent Isabella off the track. Oh, he made some contact with Isabella, did Cameron Rich. So Rich has bounced off of Isabella and Barbieri back there, and that's why you just never want to be back in the field, I think. I think that's the
These races are definitely a lot more fun when you're up towards the front.
Mm-hmm. It's tough to get through a lot of this traffic. These guys are really talented.
Scott Crump is doing a great job holding on for 2 tires.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely is. Taking a look back at Vincent Isabella's incident. Well, we see Ryan Gavel and Ryan Lutz battling it out. Now Vincent just pulled it off. Never mind on that. Gavel and Lutz still side by side, still battling. Battle for the premier Ryan. See, just can't. Oh man, Cameron Rich just having some difficulty getting that car up off the corner with that nose damage. I think you can buff out these old ARCA cars, right? I mean, I think that thing will revert to 0 if Cameron Rich sits on pit road, but if he doesn't have a caution to do that, he'll have that kind of parachute of right front damage for the whole rest of the race if we go green from here.
Yeah, it will be interesting if, seeing what he decides to do. If he decides to fix it, if he decides he doesn't think it's hurting him enough, like you said, under green, there's no discussion. You're not going to fix that under green.
Right. You can't afford to. You don't have enough time. It may be 20 seconds, it may be 12 seconds, but 12 seconds is almost half a lap. Austin Beers has not been able to pull away from this front group, which may tell me he's saving his stuff a little bit, which is not the typical Austin Beers strategy. He usually is going for it from the drop. This season, however, he's been really, really competitive, right up in the top 3, just about every race we've run. He's got the race win earlier this season at Nashville.
And Tate Lytle has now joined this group. I don't know that Austin's saving too much. I've seen him get really sideways off of turn 2 a couple laps ago.
There you go. Yeah, Tate the one I think to be Tate and Indelicato probably the 2 that are the freshest of this group. But what we've seen of the last couple of times is Trupiano went to the top and just yielded second to Massey there.
I think he thought he was going to have more grip up there. It looks like he missed it a little bit.
Yeah. Massey's been running the top. I think the tires on that 48 car, not the best that we would have seen. Scott Crump now takes the 2 tires up to the top of the racetrack against Tate Lytle. Delicato's definitely in this battle too. You got 6 cars under a second of the race lead.
And Tate's the guy coming through this pack right now that I'd be most worried about.
Good news is it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough to pass with these old tires. We've seen just how long someone like Scott Crump, and Scott's got two left side tires that are 10 laps older than even the right sides, and he's still holding strong with Tate Lytle.
Yeah, that tells me 2 tires will work at the end.
Mm-hmm.
So, as long as there's not many laps on him, I wouldn't do it if there was over about 10. I don't even think he's got 10 laps on his lefts. I think he was one of the last guys to pit.
Yeah.
And so he had fresher lefts than most.
We were at like 8 to 10 there from people who had pitted last.
So I wouldn't do it much over 10. If I was over 10 laps, I'd bolt new lefts on as well.
Nick Massey is tracking down Austin Beers for the lead. Tate Lytle has cleared Crump. He's now going for 3rd. Massey going for the lead. The simultaneous side-by-side battles here. We got Massey and Beers, Tate Lytle and Trupiano, Indelicato and Crump. Everybody's side-by-side. Beers leads at the stripe. Massey's got the advantage in turn 1. Can he clear? He will. Slides up in front. Beers crossing over. Tried to cross over. Definitely sideways. Give that lead to Nick Massey here, I think. Oh, well. That entering on up top in turn 3 just does not seem to have the same level of grip as entering up top in turn 1.
Oh, we got pitters. We got Scott Crump, and we got Ryan Lutz.
The pit window's open. 40 to go. Scott Crump and his 2 tires have had enough. They're going to come get 4. Surprised Gavin Hibbs is still out there. Cameron Rich, another one coming down, trying to take advantage of that undercut. Here's Massey, Lytle, Trupiano, Indelicato, Bayuk, and Gavel have all entered this top pack and are all within 1 second of the race lead. Battle for 4th. One car, and Indelicato trying to go for it here. Massey just keeps finding that he can't enter that on the top the same as these guys can enter on the bottom. Oh, we got a car in the grass. Cameron Rich. And he's towed it. What happened there? Cameron spin it coming off pit road?
Nick Massey tried to go to the bottom, did not commit to the slide job, and he's going to lose second place because of it.
Did his wheel come unconnected? Oh, man. Something happened to Cameron Rich. I want to say like a wheel came disconnected or something. Oh, and it's a heartbreak for one of the dominant cars here tonight. Just it did not go well for him from the start. And yeah, I don't know. He's just turned it off.
Yeah, not ideal.
Tate Lytle into second. Indelicato pitting. Trupiano pitting. Gavel pitted. Right now, the undercut is valuable because if caution comes out, you want to have that first spot. But I think the later you pit, the better you're going to be. Should this thing go green to the end, and you kind of have to plan on that.
I think Beers is going to come this time.
Yep, here comes Austin Beers. Tate and Massey stay out. Bayuk stays out. Dylan Thomas coming down pit road as well. Gavin Hibbs is still out there, man. I can't understand that. He's given up time. He should have come to when the first wave hit. You're not saving a set of tires or anything. I mean, everyone's going to have another set to bolt on if the caution comes out here. They let it back to the lead. None of the front 3 pitting this time.
Yeah, a lot of these guys still out here who have saved a set, which is surprising, like you were talking about.
Beers coming off pit road right now, and Delicato's entering turn 1 right now. Should give you a glimpse of that undercut. And Delicato passed Beers right now. He's going to have about 4 or 5 seconds on Beers, but Beers will have the speed to run him down with those fresher tires. Tate's coming to pit road. Race leader on pit road. Give it to Nick Massey now. Oh, and there was a big moment as Hibbs comes down pit road real quick. I think he got there. Ryan Lutz came up on Nick Massey when Massey was trying to go around Parker Landel, and Massey kind of cut him off, and Lutz cut him a break. A good, gentlemanly moment there from Ryan Lutz, but definitely some risk involved. Ryan Blanchard up in third now after not pitting yet. Bayuk stays out. Massey stays out. Those guys running it really long. Tate rejoins. You see Beers flash by on the outside. That's the gap, and it's going to be very large. Worth noting that Ryan Lutz and Scott Crump are now back on the lead lap.
I think Nick is going to come this time.
Bayuk certainly can't. He was top of 3 wide with lapped cars. So Bayuk will assume the lead. He will pick up 5 bonus points for leading a lap. Actually, I think it's just 1 bonus point. Used to old NASCAR back when it was 5. Austin Beers going to go to unlap himself here. I'm assuming Bayuk will come this time. And that will hand the lead over to Ryan Blanchard, but in the de facto, term, it will hand the lead to Scott Crump. As yes, here comes Bayuk. Crump, the first car to pit. He's the first car out there on tires right now. Ryan Lutz is currently second among cars out there on tires. Josh Adams is currently third, and Delicado's fourth, but he's quickly closing on Adams with a few laps fresher tires. Ryan Blanchard will lead his first ERSCA race. Shout out to him. Right, and Joe Francis back up in second.
Going to be very interesting to see how this all shakes out.
Mm-hmm. There will be guys coming with a lot fresher tires. Like Scott Crump just flashed by the end of pit road. That's where Bayuk's coming out of pit road right now. He's going to be way behind a lot of these guys. And yeah, Bayuk's going to have to unlap himself from Ryan Blanchard. Francis still on the track. Blanchard on the track. Scott Crump is up to third. Rupiano was up to the de facto third spot in front of Indelicado. Beers has caught Ryan Gavel. That's a battle we might need to watch as Beers tries to pick his way through all these guys who are also on fresh tires, just a little bit older than that of the 19. Is Gavel loose all through turn 3. Hangs onto it.
And Goodman's on pit road now. He just pitted. He had stretched this out a long time as a lap car trying to hopefully catch a caution that he did not get to catch.
Nope. Worth a shot, obviously. Beers goes to the outside for Adams. Francis coming down pit road now. Blanchard still on the track. Hoping for that caution. Scott Crump up to second with a healthy lead on Lutz, but it is dwindling when you look back to these guys back here between Indelicado, Beers, Trupiano. Those guys are catching Scott Crump.
Joe Francis on pit road here.
Someone in the wall back there. I think it was Adams. 07 out there on the older tires. Blanchard finally on pit road. Now it'll turn the lead over to Scott Crump. Do you have a moment entering pit road? Blanchard on that apron. Car's starting to get out from under him. Oh, and there goes the 21. From the lead into the infield wall.
Not ideal.
Not the best. Not what you want. But ERSCA debut. Good run. Led some laps. Played a different strategy. Getting on pit road's tough. I know. I speed on it all the time. Maybe my biggest kryptonite. Darn pit road speed limit always gets you. Scott Crump has pulled this lead out to 3 seconds over Trupiano. It's now down to 2.5. Lutz is sitting about 0.8 back, but unable to close. I think Austin Beers is going to be the one that can take this away from Scott Crump. I think it's going to be Beers. He's going after Trupiano right now. Only 2.5 seconds behind. But if they get to battling, if Trupiano holds him up at all, I mean, that could be enough time. I just don't know that Tate Lytle can run down Austin Beers with, that few laps, difference on their tires. And with 25 whole laps to go. Now he could, because it's Tate Lytle, but it's going to be tough. And there's always the threat of the caution. Beers through Trupiano. That's Blanchard there underneath. Trying to go ahead and get his lap back. See 2 down. He might even be 2 laps down here. No, he's just the 1 down.
I think the 2 I'm watching are Tate and Nick. Nick went a little bit further than Tate here. And I think those are the 2 guys that are coming through the traffic that you're gonna have to deal with before this is over.
Is Nick faster than Tate right now? That's the real question. Nick last time by 31.4. Tate last time by 31.6. Beers last time by was a 32 flat.
At that rate, they're going to catch him.
Yeah.
Oh,
Lutz and Blanchard get together. Caution's out. And that ruined that. Ryan Lutz. I think Ryan Blanchard might have just gotten Ryan Lutz there in the center of the corner with the fresher tires. Yep. '36 car does a loop. Continues on, but with some pretty significant damage. I'm not entirely sure what the 21 was looking for there. You just got to choose a different lane. Lutz has been running that middle lane the whole time. Well, your ERSCA debut has it all. You lead some laps. You just go from 10th to 20th in 2 laps, and you wreck a former champion. I'm almost certain everyone will be coming for 4 tires, or for at least 2 tires, and I envision a few will be taking 2. Worked last time for Scott Crump. He stayed up in the top 5. I think he'll be taking 4 this time, though. Anybody stay out? Nope. Everybody coming down pit road. You know who that really hurt was Matthew Bayuk. He's behind all these cars. He's back in 14th. Anybody taking 2? Massey first down and away. That could have been a 2-tire call from the 48 car. Nick Massey picks up a bunch of spots. He will lead him off pit road, and I bet with 2 tires.
That's 2 tires on Nick Massey. But he was one of the last guys to pit there, so he only had about 10 laps on his lefts.
And remember, I mean, there's 20 laps to go, and this is the formula that we've seen in these ERSCA races. It gets 20 laps to go. We get a caution. Everybody gets 4. A couple of guys take 2 or 0, and then things go crazy. All you got to do is stay up front. That's what Nick Massey's betting on, that he can kind of hold these guys off and endure the cautions, and I think it's a good call. You got to get that track position somehow. And he's definitely, had the best left side tires there as well. So if anybody is going to, be able to hold, it was going to be him. Ryan Lutz stays in 8th. I wonder if there wasn't too much damage on that 36 car. Tate will restart 5th. Beers points leader will restart 3rd.
Do we have a commercial we could hit here, or?
Yeah, this would be a good time before the chaos hits.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
I could lose you like some loose change. Usually I like to kick it through the Luke Kane. Every night, living life out of suitcase. Too many voices in my head to hear what you say. That's why I'm swimming in this liquor like a pool day. That's why I'm flying out to Vegas on a Tuesday. Yeah, I might catch a couple L's, but I'm cool, Jay. You never know, just like the shoes say. A new wave, I am on, wonder where my mind is gone. Every time I write a song, I feel like I right or wrong. I keep running right in place, might as well enjoy the chase. Wish I knew back then.
But now the commercial, because we're about to go back to green. Nick Massey, race leader with 2 tires. Scott Crump second, Austin Beers third, Indy Trupiano fourth, Tate Lytle fifth. Pace car is off, 20 laps to go. Good jump from Massey.
On the loud pedal here.
Good jump for Beers, and Beers is going to look to the apron to try to take him 3 wide. Massey strong in the middle. Beers a little bit loose on the bottom. Back to 2x2, and Massey to the lead in 3, but those 2 tires not easy to enter the corner.
Wrecking behind him.
Caution's out. I think Nick Massey has the lead. Ryan Barbieri, the one wrecking. I think Massey's going to have it. It's like Adams tags Barbieri. Oh, no, he didn't. Oh, well, he did, actually. Adams got out of the way, checked up, and then still got put in the fence. Oh, and then Michael Goodman nowhere to go. Oh, and then Landolt gets there as well. That was what Nick Massey was expecting. Gotta hold him off for 3 laps at a time, 1 lap at a time. And you know what Austin Beers is going to be doing. Looks like Nick and Delicato passed Tate Lytle on that restart. We're going to get 2 laps to green here at the line.
Yeah, and we had to cut that commercial off. So I'm going to give a shout out to Belly Up Sports and all that they do there. You know, we've had the opportunity to work with some of those guys over there, Rattlesnake and all those guys at Chairgating, and gotten to talk with some other people over there as well. Great group of guys over there at Belly Up Sports. Go give them a look up and go give one of their podcasts a listen if you're a sports fan. There is a Belly Up podcast for you, I guarantee it.
Absolutely. Hell, I'm on Batflip Podcast. We're part of the Belly Up Sports Network.
There you go. That's you and Damien, right? Batflip.
Yep. Damien
and that's hockey, right? Batflip's hockey, right?
Shohei Ohtani did a bat flip earlier. I just saw it on Twitter. Very nice. Name of the podcast. Highly recommend. Baseball, Chris. Baseball. I know you're a football guy.
I am very much a football guy.
There was also actually a bat flip style celebration in golf this weekend in the Canadian Open. I don't know if you guys saw that, just to jump in with some filler here.
I don't know anything about Canadian golf. Is that different than regular golf?
No, it's the PGA Tour. Nick Taylor, a Canadian, won the RBC Canadian Open. First time a Canadian's won in like 50 years. And a fellow Canadian golfer, Adam Hadwin, went out to celebrate with him and immediately got tackled by security. They didn't know who he was, so be sure to look that up.
Oh, man.
Is it still the PGA Tour, or is it like Live Golf now? They coming up with a new phrase? What's going on?
I don't know, man. It's just golf.
Yeah. And this is just racing. We're 1 to go, 1 to green here. And with Nick Massey on 2 tires trying to hold the field off. And the outside lane hasn't had nearly as good of a run. But Austin Beers has been really, really strong on these restarts without spinning his tires. So the question will be, can he utilize that preferred outside lane to get into turn 1 here? Will Nick Massey be able to get the jump on him? The leader has a big advantage in these ERSCA restarts. I don't believe we have the restart zone. Here we go. Pace car's off. Massey goes really early. And yeah, he will clear Austin Beers. 14 laps to go at the line.
14 to go. That's enough for about 3 or 4 cautions, right?
Don't say it. It'll happen. Beers closed the gap back. He's now right on the bumper of that 48 car. 48's going to need
to the bottom.
48's going to need to play some very, very aggressive defense here.
But I like what he did. He gave him the bottom. Say, if you're going to pass me, you're going to do it down there.
Yep. Just got to deal with having those 2 left side tires, but Beers unable to do so just yet. The problem is that corner entry, right? 4 tires, you can really lean on that right side. You've got that stability from those left side tires to lean on that right side and throw it into the corner. Austin Beers, one of the best in the business at that. Big wreck in the back. Bayuk, Lutz, and more cautions out, and I think Beers had the lead. I jinxed Matthew Bayuk. I mentioned that he was the only car with all top 10 finishes in this series so far, and the strategy went poorly for Matty, and now the wreck has gone poorly. The wreck luck. Take a look at what happened here. Lutz loose on the bottom, close up the track. Looks like Ryan Gavel is going to be the one to get into him here, and it's going to turn him down right in front of Matthew Bayuk.
And Lutz is already hurt too, so he might be off pace.
They're going to come back up into anybody? I think they might have gotten away with this. Lutz hits the wall, and then Bayuk gets him. I wonder if Gavel came back up and got anybody. Lutz hit the inside wall too. I think that 36 car might be finished there. Yeah, Ryan Lutz is going to disconnect. No, looks like Gavel made it up without hitting anybody. He made a trip through the grass down there. In all that chaos, Austin Beers does get the lead. Johnny Thomas, Kyle Hanshaw, Ryan Gavel, a few others are going to come grab tires. With 10 laps to go, why not?
Yeah, if you're back there, why not grab tires if you got some left, you know?
See what happens. Josh Adams also back there grabbing some extra rubber. That'll bring Matthew Bayuk back to 10th after those pit stops. So maybe the 29 car will be able to maintain the record there. Beers looks like he's going to choose the bottom here with 1 lap to go. And yeah, this is not what Massey needed, was to lose the lead right when the caution came out. He needed to hold it.
Yeah, I think he was content to give Beers the dives, and Massey was winning the battle off every corner, and just where that caution came out was not ideal.
Yeah, it's tough because about the only guy who can get something done on the bottom in that scenario is Austin Beers too. Here we go. There goes Beers, early jump. He'll get a monster gap here. No one was able to stay with him. Crump gets into the back of Massey. Everybody's a 10th or 2 behind Beers, and they're going to need most of the remaining 10 laps to run that down. Hibbs bounced it off the fence.
Yeah, the battle's for second.
It's not battle anymore.
The 7 is through.
Trupiano through. I don't recall if Trupiano won it. Oh, Massey in the wall.
Trupiano, I think, came up and made contact with Massey and put him in the fence.
Hibbs hit the wall behind. As well. Trying to look back and see is Tate Lytle going for second on Andy Trupiano. Yeah, Trupiano, never an ERSCA winner, and he's going to get the fence, and Lytle and Crump both going to go through. Trupiano's time, not today. Tate Lytle back to second, Crump to third. 2 tires for Massey have fallen off, not to mention the contacts. They're 3 wide back there behind this group. Dylan Thomas Johnny Thomas up top. He's got the fresher tires. He's trying to make something happen in the 83 car. Big gaggle here. Lytle's about... Yeah, Tate's about there.
No about it. He is there.
Beers was driving it in so hard going after Massey. They're still 3 wide. Man, Beers might have ruined the right front tire trying to get the lead. Now he's got to defend it, and Tate's going to be able to clear through.
And Tate's through.
Yep, Tate to the lead. Crump trying to grab second. Crump coming back up on the track. Now he bopped into Beers. That's not good. Points leader up the track. Crump through to second. 3 wide for third. Trupiano and Delicato Hibbs. Oh, contact almost. Oh, Beers just spun Crump down the back.
Oh, we're wrecking down into 3.
Oh, and they're going to wreck big. Oh, no, maybe not. Oh, they didn't. But I don't envision that 8's going to be all that happy with the 19 car there. Yeah. Here, let's go to the replay. I got him. I'll let you know if he's making any moves.
I think Scott kind of just got.
Robert, rewind it. This happened. This started before this corner too. Right there. So here's. No, wait, it was there. Front straightaway. Crump comes back onto the track. Beer's not leaving any room. And then I think, Crump just tracks up to enter the corner. Okay, yeah, you might want to go to live shot quick.
Oh, here we go. We got fireworks. Oh, and we've got a third party. A third party just got involved.
What in the world?
Yeah.
Brendan
that should be
Bach just got involved for no reason, guys.
I think that's coming to the defense of somebody there. Yeah, he's been kicked from the server by Johnny Eckert in a wise move.
Yeah, great call. Let's go back to what happened.
I think Scott was about done, right? I think his message was sent there. Give him a little bump. Excuse me, I got something to race for too. You wrecked me down the straightaway there, but
Ooh.
I didn't see Crump move over to block or anything. I think Beers just cut 3/4 of a car and then just drove through him. I'm ultimately, I'm fine with the driver showing his displeasure. Give him a little rub. He's gonna just hit pit road after this. I don't think there was any intent to wreck him or spin him or anything. He was off him. He was done. And Brendan Bach comes and makes that way worse than it needed to be.
Yeah, there's no reason for a third party to get involved right there.
Right.
Absolutely no reason.
Yeah, I think it was pretty clear what Scott was going for.
Scott had every right to be upset over what happened because he didn't block, he didn't do any defensive maneuver, just got drove through, and so he went up there, he hit him a little bit, he didn't wreck him. If he wanted to wreck him, he could have wrecked him. We're going green here, boys.
We're green. Tate Lytle, Beers spins the tires, and I think that's going to give Tate a very nice gap here. Trupiano's been in the fence. Beers' tires are shot. There's damage on the 19 car now as well. Tate got that clean air. Beers was able to get off a 2 pretty well, though. This might not be over just yet.
Coming to 2 to go with the line. The 7 gets sideways. Somebody's in the fence.
And Delicato and Dylan Thomas both went in the fence.
The 9's going to shoot the middle.
Gavin Hibbs to the middle. Going for third.
And that's fresher tires on that 9 machine. He pitted on a later caution. He's got fresher rubber.
And Delicato back to the middle. 3 wide for third again. Johnny Thomas sitting behind this in 6th place with fresh tires licking his chops.
Oh, and Delicato's going to slide up in front of the 9. 9's going to cut him a break there.
Yeah, Hibbs does not run into the number 1. Josh Adams just passed Johnny Thomas. Josh has fresh tires as well. The white flag is out for Tate Lytle. He's got a pretty decent-sized gap on Austin Beers. Battles for third and fourth here is Adams way up top down the back straightaway.
These boys are going to pass Scott Crump down here in 3 and 4.
Tate Lytle off of turn 4. He will win at Chicagoland. Austin Beers will finish second, and he got missed until now.
Oh, but the second one is connecting.
Remember, the incident points do count. Crump trying to give some incident points, and he's also been removed from the server.
Yeah, if I know Johnny Thomas, Johnny's pretty frustrated with what has transpired here tonight.
Yeah, and I think originally, that's why kind of the call is a little lackluster there because, Scott's right there trying to run into the 19 car, obviously coming to the line, and
and I'm going to tell you right now too. I'm going to be the first one that sits up here and tells you what Scott did was unacceptable. What that third party did was unacceptable. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, the 19 didn't have to drive through the 8 on the backstretch either.
Three true statements right there. I think we got 3 sinners.
Let's not call the 19 a saint and all this. The whole incident started with him just driving through a guy. So those guys had a right to be frustrated. When I said, well, the 8 had a right to be frustrated.
Right.
And if he would have just done what he did under caution, I think that no harm, no foul. It was fine. That deal coming to the line though. As Tate Lytle though wins the thing, celebrating here.
Didn't he tell you he didn't think he was going to win?
Yeah, I talked to him pre-race. He thought he was going to run about dead last.
How about that? How about that?
And now the day's going by machine, sitting here doing burnouts.
This is a typical Tate Lytle race where he believes in not himself and then just goes out there and whips the field. He wins it. Austin Beers is going to finish second and extend his points lead. Nick Indelicato is going to finish third and minimize the loss in that points gap. Josh Adams comes home fourth. Gavin Hibbs with a top 5 run. Very strong night for Gavin. Ryan Blanchard's going to get sixth in his ERSCA debut. Been up some big ups and downs for that 21 car. Andy Trupiano is going to finish 7th. Dylan Thomas 8th. Johnny Thomas takes home a top 10 in 9th. Joe Francis gets 10th. Matthew Bayuk's streak of finishing in the top 10 is over as he finishes in 11th. With that, do we want to pull in the third place driver, Nick Indelicato?
I think so.
All right. Nick, David in the booth, you got me?
Yes, sir.
Well, third place run, man. Looked like it was a little bit chaotic out there late. Take us through your night and tell us how things went for you there at the end of the race.
Yeah, that was very chaotic. I mean, that's racing, but I think really tonight a lot of people did a really good job on the green flag stops and stuff like that. So, obviously we had a couple incidents at the end that don't need to happen, but for me personally, it was a solid race. I did not feel fast at all at the beginning of the race. I think I stayed 18, 15, 16 through the first run. So, kind of just figured it out and tried to figure it out. And then I felt like I just wasn't pushing enough compared to the other guys. So once I kind of found the limit, it helped out there. And then that battle with the 7 and the 9 there, Gavin, that was a ton of fun. So to come out of there clean and have a great battle like that, I'll take it as a positive.
Yeah, for sure. And, with a really strong, performance again tonight, I think you're still going to be second to the 19 car. But, anything you can do to move forward as we kind of approach chase time, or are you kind of waiting and lying in wait for your opportunity to go up there and take the points lead?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it's kind of just chipping away at it. The way the playoffs work this year in ERSCA is pretty cool. So it's a totally different dynamic. So, kind of just got to, chip away the finishes, and another third place. I think that makes it 5 top 5s or 6 top 5s this year out of the 7 or 8 races. So, just got to keep putting in good finishes, and I'm happy that I got those last couple spots to finish third. The points are so tight, so it's going to be little gains here and there unless somebody makes a mistake.
You got anything for him, Chris?
Yeah, I got a couple questions here for you, Nick. One, what did you think about the chaos at the end of the race? And 2, is Ryan Gavel's spot on the team safe? Because he just doesn't seem like he's bringing a whole lot to the operation right now.
Man, Gavel's gotten so unlucky. It's awesome to have him on here. A lot of the time in ERSCA, I think the last 2 years, it was just me and Matthew. So to have somebody else here, unfortunately Seth couldn't be here tonight. But the bigger team, the better. Bouncing ideas off each other and trying to figure out when to pit definitely helps. But the chaos at the end, when you have a yellow that late, obviously it's going to happen. That's just racing. that happens in all forms of racing and all levels. So the wrecking under yellow, maybe not. So that, that's got to be figured out. And then the wrecking after the start and finish line. But other than that, I think when you looked at, deeper into it, there's a lot of people who had a lot of good battles. And with these cars, I mean, they're hard to control. You got, 800 plus horsepower. So they're definitely harder. And a lot of people, I guess, really aren't used to them. So it's a different dynamic. But once you figure it out, it makes it a ton of fun.
Well, Nick, you got any shout outs for us here before we send you off for the night?
Yeah, man. Like I said, shout out to our team, Shift Esports. Just helps out a lot having, a team and a bunch of group of guys you can bounce ideas off. Along with that, Fantasy Thrills Football, they were on board for Elite this year, and they're on the side of the car this year. And then SR Design, Seth Rawls has his own design company, makes all these beautiful cars for our team. So if you need a car for iRacing or design in general, go hit him up. Thank you guys for broadcasting.
Alrighty. Well, thanks, Nick, and good luck the rest of the way. What's your brief thoughts on the next race, which I have right here? I believe it's Bristol.
Oh, I've had some heartbreak there. We'll see. You never know. These cars are a little different.
All right. That's third place finisher Nick Indelicato. Let's grab second place finisher Austin Beers. Kind of the center of attention there at the end, Austin, but take us through the rest of your night. You were battling up front for a lot of the race with Scott Crump and Tate Lytle and Cameron Rich, and just take us through how all that was before maybe we get to the end here.
Yeah, it was kind of really uneventful, especially when I got the lead there. I was actually really good on the long run, and we had a really good battle at the beginning, the top four there. So yeah, I don't know what happened at the end, but we'll put it past us, and another good points day, and come out as the point leader once again, and go on to the next track, and hopefully have another top 3 run.
So next track's Bristol. So any concern that tempers may continue over to Bristol after tonight?
I don't know. I'm not going to carry anything over. If he does, it is what it is. That's just how racing is. Something happens. If it was a racing incident or not, I don't know. But if it carries over, it carries over. I'm not one to hold grudges. I'm just going to go to the next race and try to go as fast as I can.
I'll jump in here and I'll go ahead and say I don't think it's going to carry over because I do not believe Crump will probably be at Bristol if Johnny stays kind of what he did last week. I think Crump's going to get a free vacation there.
Okay, so then whatever the race after that is, I hope it's not carried over.
Yeah, as the points leader, do you kind of change your approach going into some of these now that you're kind of, I don't want to say locked into the chase here, but pretty well on your way? Or are you just going to keep trying to rattle off top 2s and 3s?
Yeah, just keep trying to run consistent, and obviously tonight wasn't one of the nights where I didn't gain an enemy, but just try to keep everybody happy with me and race clean, and I think for the most part this year I've been doing that pretty well. So just keep being consistent, have kind of like quiet days where you don't hear me as much if I'm running mid pack, or just working my way to the front. Just quiet days, nice consistent finishes.
Alrighty, well, Austin, you got any shout outs for us here before we send you off?
Yeah, everybody at Legend Pro, Black Flag Podcast, the Shark Lounge, and all you guys for putting on the broadcast, and both the Johnnies for running the race. And Kyle, sorry, I always forget to mention Kyle, but Kyle does good too. And it was congrats to Tate. This is a really fun league. I think if I didn't struggle a little bit passing Nick on those restarts, I think I could have had something for Tate. I just kind of burned the right front trying to get by Nick, so that was unfortunate. But once again, another top 2, and I think I was like my 4th second of the year. So just happy to be consistent and hopefully go into Bristol and have another quiet day.
I was actually going to jump in and ask you about that, Austin, but you answered it. So congrats on the run tonight, and congrats on keeping the point lead.
Yep, thank you guys.
All right, now as runner-up finisher Austin Beers, we'll grab race winner Tate Lytle.
Race winner and liar. Don't forget that.
No, yeah, liar, absolutely. Tate, congratulations on the win tonight. And you told Chris before the race that you didn't think you were going to be a factor tonight, but here you are with what we thought was the best car all night, and then the race win.
Yeah, I don't know. I was P last in practice, and I don't know. It just kind of, that first run was just kind of feeling it out, and those guys got to race and was able to get the lead, but I still felt like Cam was a little better than me. at the end of that first run. And then a caution came out, got kind of stuck back in 14th. I thought I was going to get stuck, racing for 8th to 11th, because it seems like once you get to racing, you can't make much progress. But I got up there and can't remember before those pit stops if I got the lead quite or not, but I was in the picture at least. But I think I was really wishing that caution with 20 to go wouldn't have came out, because I felt like I was going to have a pretty easy win at it. And fortunately, caution came out and really had to earn it. I don't know where all the speed came from those last 10 laps. I wasn't thinking I was going to have much of a shot at it, but looked like everyone else just kind of started overdriving entry a little bit, and I was just backing it off and getting just heaters of runs off the corner, and was able to make it work pretty good on the bottom on a few of those guys.
Big shocker,
right.
Tate. You're one of the best guys in here. So I had no doubt. Before the race, I told Tate that he was going to be one of the guys up here with the shots. So, Tate, how'd you do it? You were so good at tire saving. You were really good at the end of the long runs. And then, like you said, that we were documenting there, you and Nick had ran longer than everybody else, and we kind of thought it was going to come down to you two. And you beat Nick to pit road by a couple laps. The gap was shrinking a little bit, but your gap was shrinking to the lead as well. So if it stayed green, did you think you were going to be able to stay far enough ahead of Nick? And then at the end, you showed that you had the pace to do it on fresh tires as well.
I don't know if I was going to beat Nick. I felt like at the end of that longer run, before we did the green flag stops, I was a little bit better on tires than he was. So I thought that maybe with the tire, if I were able to save kind of how I did that first run, I was going to be just fine. He probably would have got within a second of me, but once it evened out there toward the end of the run, in my head, I was going to do fine. I'm sure he'd give you a different account of the story, but I was catching the leader by about 0.6 a lap. I'm like, man, if this thing can just go green another 10 laps, I might have the lead. But didn't work out that way, but missed all the carnage behind me and was able to make a few good moves on the 7 and the 19. And yeah, I did not think I was going to have a chance at the win. I wasn't lying to you, but I don't know. It worked out.
I don't know either. It looked like you were telling quite a big lie. You going to show up for Bristol next week and the rest of the season there and try to put yourself up here in the points and take a run at it?
Well, considering there's 3 races to the chase, I don't think I have much chance at the points. So
the way guys are getting suspended right now, man, you'll be fine.
Well, don't you have to be like top 6 to get in the points? Top 5? Or is it top 5 and then like best with a win?
I'm not sure how it works.
I don't know how it works either, but
you got to be leading the incident cap, right? You've got less incidents than everybody. You only showed up to one race.
Yeah, I think there's a minimum races though you got to hit.
Well, I think if you could point your way in, it doesn't matter. But I think if I missed the first 6 races, and with only 22 guys showing up, all you got to do is show up and you get an easy 20 points. So I don't think I got much of a chance at that. So I'll probably not be at Bristol, but you'll catch me. I'm hoping it's Vintage or Legacy Atlanta in 2 weeks. Probably catch me there. Doubt you'll see me at Talladega, but the last 3 of the chase races look pretty fun. You might see me there.
Well, hopefully we see you. We've got, I believe, 1 race left to broadcast, and I believe it's Atlanta, right, guys? Isn't that what we were talking about?
Yeah, I believe so.
So yeah, you'll have the A team. That's what we are. The B team will be back next week. So I mean, you don't want to be there for them anyway.
I don't even know who the B team is, but I'll be okay calling you guys the A team. But got a shout out. I know my dad's listening right now, so shout out Dad and Louise and Jack and Lawrence. Probably can't wait for this to get off the TV. Shout out to you guys. I don't know if Noah's watching right now, but shout out to Noah. Shout out to Brent Wentz. Days gone by. Haven't put him in victory lane for a while. I just saw him here a couple weeks ago at Portland. It was good to see him, but good to see him. Go check out his new Instagram. His first one got hacked, so go follow his new Instagram. Always got some cool vintage racing apparel on there, but yeah, fun to kind of one-off it and find myself winning the race.
Yeah, and I'm not affiliated with them at all, but I think they just put some new stuff up on this past week that looked pretty cool. Days Gone By has got a lot of great old NASCAR stuff and vintage stuff. You got any of it yourself, Tate?
I have a lot of it. I have more than I'd probably like to admit, but yeah, check out Brent's stuff. He's on Etsy. He'll ship it out tomorrow if you want it. So get on there, get some stuff. Can't go wrong.
Congrats on the win, Tate.
Appreciate it.
All right. That
should have picked me.
That was race winner Tate Lytle.
Hey, we didn't do race picks. He said should have picked him. I don't. Did we do race? I would have picked Tate.
No, we did not.
We did not.
Yeah, it would have been a good one. Yeah, so haven't done it quite as regularly this year, but with all that, I think we got it. That's it for this week. Another eventful late race here in ERSCA. Hopefully, maybe we can clean one of these up and finish it under green on one of those long runs.
Well, I don't think that'll happen at Bristol.
Yeah, probably not at Bristol, but maybe Atlanta in 2 weeks when we see you guys again. So thank you, of course, to Robert and Chris for picking up these races and getting them broadcasted. And thanks to everyone for tuning in, and have a good night. We'll see you guys next week.